Welcome to the Believe to Become Baby Scholars Empowering Parents to Help Their Young Children Grow Smarter webinar. Welcome to our Believe to Become Empowering Parents to Help Young Children Grow Smarter Winning Strategies webinar. I am Dana Hammond, the Manager of Program and Systems Quality at the National Summer Learning Association. NSLA is pleased to have a long-standing and rich relationship with the Douglas and Maria DeVos Foundation, which has included support for our program and systems quality initiatives. Today's webinar will highlight the Believe to Become Baby Scholars family engagement component and several best practices that are being implemented by the B2B program in Grand Rapids, Michigan. We'll be joined by Takia Adams. Takia Adams is the Program Supervisor of Community Programs for Strong Beginnings Baby Scholars at Spectrum Health. She has the responsibility for managing the Baby Scholars Early Childhood Parenting Program in Grand Rapids, Michigan. She holds a BA in Childhood Development, a certification in Child Welfare, and a master's degree in Education, Curriculum, and Instruction. Takia has served as preschool teacher and administrator for the National Head Start program for 10 years and currently volunteers as children's pastor youth leader alongside her husband at Kingdom Life Ministries. Takia currently serves as an equity advisor for the Early Childhood Collective Impact Initiative in Kent County and led multiple quality improvement projects around family engagement and positive parenting practices. She has a special place in her heart for serving as an advocate for all children, especially the most vulnerable. Under Takia's leadership, along with her team, Baby Scholars grew and within 2 years of operation has served over 2,000 parents with children under 5 years of age. Because of the impact of Baby Scholars in the community and Takia's strong leadership, Baby Scholars has been operating for 6 years and has become recognized as an essential educational opportunity for parents and their children among schools, organizations, and families. Takia and her coaching team strive to prepare children for school, life, and career by empowering parents as first teachers and through responsive parenting education. In Takia's spare time, she enjoys spending quality time with her family and her new grandson. We will also be joined by Kimberly Spencer. Kimberly has more than 35 years of knowledge and experience in the field of early childhood education, along with a passion to empower our community to give all children a strong academic foundation, thus strengthening our community and future. She has been with Early Learning Neighborhood Collaborative in a variety of roles since 2011, serving as a partner representative, Baby Scholars Program Manager, Preschool Site Director, and Director of Programs. Kimberly truly believes in her organization's vision and values. In her personal and professional life, she believes in having a humble heart, serving spirit, and listening ear. One of her favorite things about her work is watching children and their parents learn and grow together. In her downtime, she loves to read historical fiction and laugh with her grandchildren. Before we begin, let's go over webinar guidelines. You may use audio from your computer or your phone for this webinar. If you'd like to use audio from your phone, please dial the number indicated on the webinar and enter the access code in audio pin. Also, to help keep things moving today, we're going to mute all participants in the webinar to reduce background noise. If you have a question at any time during the webinar, please type it in the Q&A box on the bottom of your screen. We will keep track of your questions and make sure all of your questions get answered at the end of the webinar. We're going to have a welcome, learn a little bit about NSLA, more about Believe to Become Baby Scholars. We already were introduced to Takia Adams and Kimberly Spencer, and then we'll have time for questions and answers. The National Summer Learning Association is the only national nonprofit exclusively focused on closing the achievement gap by increasing access to high-quality summer learning opportunities. NSLA's goal is to increase nationwide the number of high-quality summer learning programs designed to close the achievement gap. To achieve this goal, NSLA recognizes and disseminates what works, offers expertise and support for programs and communities, and advocates for summer learning as a solution for equity and excellence in education. NSLA's work is driven by the belief that all children and youth deserve high-quality summer learning experiences that will help them succeed in career, college, and life. NSLA, in collaboration with the Douglas and Maria DeVos Foundation, recently released a B2B parent engagement brief highlighting several strategies being implemented by B2B that programs can use to strengthen their parent engagement component and help parents support their child's school readiness. The B2B Baby Scholars Program is an education and skills reinforcement program that helps parents of infants and young children 5 months to 5 years old in low-income areas reinforce responsive parenting and storybook reading skills. The program's goal is to empower parents to improve their child's school readiness through stakeholder partnerships and implementation of a parent education model. We are pleased to feature their innovative work as a best practice for parent and family engagement. Now we will turn the webinar over to Takia Adams and Kimberly Spencer to share with us how Believe to Become empowers parents to help their young children grow smarter.
Thank you, Dana. Good afternoon, everyone. We appreciate you tuning in today. So I just want to acknowledge all the work that you all do and on a day-to-day basis, and thank you for putting the plow to the field and answering the call of this challenging opportunity to help change conditions for our families. And so we want to make sure that as we go through these slides and through this presentation that you have all that you need to feel empowered yourselves to empower others. And so I wanted to see if I can click to this next slide here. And there we are. All right, so I want to start a little bit with why we do what we do and what Baby Scholars is all about. So I'll give you a brief overview. So let's dive in with a brief overview of Baby Scholars and how we've been called to serve families in our community. So Baby Scholars was launched in 2011 with the purpose of helping to close the achievement gap among African American and Latino population in Grand Rapids. Data showed us that 8 out of 10 children in the urban core of Grand Rapids are not receiving any early childhood education experiences. Therefore, they're starting kindergarten not ready and behind. And so our mission with Baby Scholars is to support the early learning community by providing access and opportunity for early childhood education experiences by designing the parent support program that reinforces strategies for early learning and school readiness. So our whole focus is on responsive parenting, and we're our mission to shift the parent paradigm from restrictive parenting to being more contingently responsive and moving from negative talk to more emotional support and support for child's focus of attention, moving from limited language input to a more rich language input so our children can start school successful, literacy rich, and all those great things. And so our areas of influence for the child will be language development, pre-academics, social-emotional development, and for parenting style and parent-child interaction. How we do it. So this is how we do it. We want to help our little ones grow smarter, and so we do this through what we call home coaching. So this is how we do it. We have a 10 weekly sessions offered 4 times a year to support families in their homes. So we adopted Dr. Susan Landry, who is the director of the Children's Learning Institute at the University of Texas Health Science Center. She's the author, also the author of the Play and Learning Strategies, which we'll refer to as PALS curriculum. PALS curriculum is an evidence-based and proven promise practice. Her research had promising results among African Americans and Latino population is the exact population that we're serving here in Grand Rapids, which showed the highest gap in achievement. And so our delivery mode for infants and toddlers is home visit from 5 months to 35 months. And then we also offer families an abbreviated preschool, which is also 10 weekly sessions, but they're offered 2 times a week for children to have that classroom setting and learning in that classroom setting, getting that social interaction developed and all that great stuff. And so I want to also highlight that we partner with community partners as well to provide additional needed desired services so that we can continue to have parents move through that pipeline of learning. So as we move through the slides, I would love for you to keep this in mind. Leaders become great not because of their power, but because of their ability to empower others. So let's keep that in mind as we work with families. Our whole goal as leaders is to create leaders. Important questions that we're going to answer for you today. Why is family engagement in home-based visits crucial to engagement and empowerment? How do families engage in home-based visits? How do parent coaches engage families? And what training helps parent coaches engage families? So why family engagement is so crucial? Number one, family engagement and home coaching results in greater outcomes and gains in parental interactive behaviors and child outcomes for families. So we really want to hit home on this, because if we're going to get maximum outcomes for our families and our children, specifically towards school readiness, we want to make sure that families have the tools, the knowledge, and the skills they need to promote that learning at home before children start kindergarten. So families are empowered when they are able to interact with their children in positive ways and confident in helping their children learn, and when they are able to see the fruits of their labor, which is the outcomes that we all want to see. That's how families are really empowered. And so we want to make sure that we're advocating for our children through working with the parent. So it's important also to realize that families play a critical role in helping their children be ready for school, not only for school, but for life. And so developing valuable partnerships with families in this endeavor should be everyone's focus when working with children, for this is definitely our model and direction that baby scholars take. 0 to 3, even before birth, it's a moment for great impact. So knowing this, we are intentional on fostering parent engagement and empowerment with the hope of creating long-life parent advocates. So why family engagement and home-based visits is crucial? First of all, we value home visit. Okay, there in our community, there are limited space for children in early childhood, specifically 0 to 3. There's very little early childhood slots for our children. And so one way we want to help close the achievement gap and to help meet families where they are, so we provide home visiting services where we bring school to home. And so impactful parent coaches, we want to talk about what they do and how they involve families in home visiting. So definitely positive interactions with their child and supporting their child's development is critical. Focusing on child's development, using daily routines and family activities for helping their child learn, and goal planning. These are essential pieces of involving families into their home visits. And parents are the most powerful influence in their child's life, period. We know that, period. They're their first child's teacher, their first influence, their favorite toy, their favorite person. So we use that as leverage. And so children are seeking our validation, even as a parent. Children are seeking our validation, their approval, guidance, love, and attention, et cetera, and it can go on and on. So parents bring change. They bring change. And so we want to use that as a powerful tool to bring change to the lives for their own lives, their children, for the school system, for the community, and it goes on and on. And so these are some ways to really involve families into the home visit, into the early learning of the children. Next, the reason model for baby scholars home coaching. Why do we do what we do? What is our reason for the model that we even chose? So baby scholars home coaching strategies, I want to talk a little bit about that, and what we use, our approach to advocating for the child through parents. So that's our whole reason. So the design of this program is intentional in weekly parent coach meetings that focus on teaching parents to support their child's social, emotional, cognitive, and language development. We work with parents as partners and leaders in their child's education by allowing their voice and contributions to guide our interactions, approach, and activities. So one thing we found that was really, really great for gathering voice and contributions from our parents is our parent orientation. And it's a strong engagement piece. And we've done some quality improvement around engagement. And one of what we found and the outcomes of that is that our parent orientations was a strong link to retention. retention rate. We use that as a safe place for parents to give their feedback, why they chose baby scholars, what is it that they would like to accomplish, what are their goals, what is it that their expectations from us. This is a place where they gather with other families. They're seeing other families that are going through the cohort with them. So they're looking at all of this. There's a camaraderie that begins in that orientation, and so it's a whole family event. We break bread together, so we have dinner, and it's a really safe place to really talk about some things that is near to dear their heart. And the kids are there, and so it's just a family parent orientation. So we call it a family orientation, really a meet and greet. And then that's a great way to break the ice before going into their space. They get to meet the coaches, and it's just really a great time. And so we found that every single parent that attended the parent orientation remained the whole way through with not a drop or anything. So that was interesting to see, and we did it for a whole full year. And so we've adopted that as part of our programming, to have that first before actually starting our sessions. And parents contribute. And so, like all, parents are on all different levels, just like children are. So there's not a one size fits all when it comes to families. So getting their voice, hearing what they have to say, what their needs are, and how we can best meet those needs together, and how we can develop the partnership is critical. So that parent orientation does a wonder for us. Then doing surveys. Surveys is great. We do a pre and post survey with parents, so we get some information from them that way, how we can best meet their needs, how to get there. And then at the end, okay, what can we do to improve? What is it? What is it? Give us some feedback on how we can better engage and things like that. So those pre and post surveys are great as well. We also address their needs through goals. So we do what we call a 5-goal survey. So before we actually start sessions, we gather information from parents on how what is their beliefs about discipline. So we're trying to learn a lot more about their culture and their background and some of the great things that they're doing and some things that they would like to improve on. So those goals help us too and guide us as we meet individual needs as well as whole needs. And so those surveys, the open house and the orientations and the goals is great. So we do that. These are all pre-worked so that we can get to learn our parents a little bit more, and they can learn about us as well. So the parent learns specific behaviors that help her or him or them tune in into their child and respond in a sensitive and contingent manner and provide appropriate cognitive and language stimulation. So PALS, goal interview, and parents are empowered by group discussions as well. I want to mention that. Group discussions are great. So we do work with parents in groups. Sometimes we work with organizations that only provide group sessions. So we'll work with like maybe 3 or 4, and parents are learning from each other and they're bouncing off ideas, and we're there facilitating that and coaching that. So it's great. It's great. So that's a great point of engagement to have that group sessions as well. Role play. So we have role play, parental influence on child development, parents as first teachers, listening, attainable goals and outcomes. So we want to make things attainable too as well, and be cultural sensitive and responsive. So that's the whole point of the parent orientation, the whole point of the goals and the surveys. Is because we want to get to know what their views are, what their background, what is their beliefs, so that we can be culturally sensitive to that. And what, it may be a grandparent in the house that they really honor their ideas and things when it comes to parents. So we want to consider all those things. So that's the way that we really want to go before we start the actual session, so we can consider all those things. Okay, so let's move on. Now we want to talk about the child development portion of it, because the whole goal is to help give parents the skills and knowledge around child development. So as they're working with their children, they have a basic idea of the key essentials for child development. So we empower, engage by educating through family partnership, like I said, goal setting, practice, and support. So if you think about how children learn, they're on all different levels, and so I'll talk more about that on our next slide. But we learn what parents are already doing well and use their strengths to build in these areas of physical health, safety, motor skills. So we give them basic information about that: social, emotional development, language and literacy, cognitive. So we incorporate these things through our sessions with parents. So we educate parents around these things, the importance of these fundamental areas that will help their child learn and grow smarter and become better prepared for school. Developmental parenting. Developmental parenting. So we want to talk a little bit about that. Caregiving, physical care, safety and discipline, affection, attentiveness, warmth and closeness, positive behaviors, responsiveness, sensitivity to child's signals and cues. That's that contingent responsiveness, encouragement, and teaching. So these are the areas of focus. And so coaches discuss with parents based on parents' goals, surveys, points of views, beliefs, and et cetera, to address the above, and how by fostering and strengthening these skills will help their child learn. So we take all these things in consideration when we're working with parents, and not pushing our agenda, but wrapping, using that cultural responsiveness and things that they're already doing, and really kind of starting where they are, and then adding some great things to build and strengthen where they are. And so together, the coach and the parent look at what parent is currently doing well in these areas and what they can do to strengthen other areas. So child proofing is one way that we go in and we help parent look at things in the physical area in their home to make sure things are safe. So we give them a checklist, and so they go around the home and kind of see where they can baby proof and doing things like that. And so, so these are some things we want to pay attention to. And so we use the piccolo and things like that, and we'll talk about that later down the slides, okay? Parent engagement and home visits. So stay physical. These are the things that we look for. And me as a supervisor, I go in and kind of look and see how the coaches are engaging families, and families are being engaged. So we want to see the parent and the coach together. They staying physically near the child and parent coach, actively engage in home visits and activities, interact and play and learning with child, and start or initiate activities and discussions. Home coaching strategies that engage parents. So this is really what I want to kind of key in on. Family orientation, I tell you, it is a charm. That is a charm. So if you're not already doing that, I would encourage you to do that. That's a great way to really break the ice with families and to really learn your families, and your families learn about you. Relationship, you want to show warmness and respect and acceptance. Like I said, that's key to building relationship, is really showing that respect and acceptance for where they are. Cultural sensitivity and responsiveness, there's no way you can build a relationship without it. So I encourage, if you can get cultural training, cultural competence training, if you can get that in, that would be awesome, because we need to know our parents, and we need to consider that. Responsiveness, respond to the strengths and build on them together. Facilitate, prompt parent-child interaction, collaborate, plan with parent, and use your surveys as a guide. Now we're going to move over to our Baby Scholars abbreviated summer learning strategies that engage parents that Kim is going to talk about. Pre-K, it helped keep parents focused on helping their child learn throughout the summer months. So I want Kim to really talk to you about that.
Okay, hello, and As Takia said, thank you for taking the time out to join us for this webinar. I'll be talking about my portion. I do the abbreviated preschool portion. We go for 10 weeks, and I find that summer is one of the most important times to empower and engage our parents. Studies have shown that over the summer break, children lose a good portion of the school year knowledge and skills that they've gained. So you may do an assessment at the end of the year and say your child's at this place, and over the summer, they lose a big portion of that. So they go into the next school year, and that teaching staff has to start over building those skills again because over the summer they've lost it. So our goal in our 10-week summer program is to help strengthen that, not only to maintain the skills that they already have, but to build and add more. In our community and the population that we serve, the families have limited resources for over the summer for that age group. So Baby Scholars is one of the few places in our community that families have access to. And we're in a unique position to impact children and their parents because our program is very holistic. We work with the parents and the child at the same time. And families look to our program as a resource because we are in the community and we do work with the whole family. So we are very intentional about letting our parents know how important their role is in their child's academic success. And we encourage our families to seamlessly incorporate hands-on learning opportunities into everyday life activities and create healthy environments and explore their community. And we do all that in a variety of ways. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things that we have done that we have found successful to engage our parents and to help our students maintain some of those skills that they've learned. As I said, our program is for 10 weeks. We use proven curriculum, Doors to Discovery. It is a very literacy-based curriculum, but it has some options for you to tweak it and add and work different things into it. And we also do school year transition, and we connect our parents to community resources to help them with whatever their needs are, whatever barriers they're having. We try to provide that support so that they can be successful as a family. We provide, we have an open enrollment. Takia talking about her orientation. We also do one, we call it open enrollment. It's a time where they come in, we provide them with refreshments, they meet the staff, they get a face-to-face sit down with us. They meet not only the teachers, but they meet the front desk staff. They meet the director. They meet everybody that's going to be touching their child's life. So it's a time for them to get comfortable with us, not only the people, but the space, and before they start. We also send out an introduction letter. In the introduction letter, it kind of breaks down what our program is and what the expectations are and what you're going to get out of it, and anything else they may know, and we include all of the staff's contact information. So if they ever have any questions or have any issues, they know they can come to anybody, and everybody's going to be there to support this family during this time. And we also do something different in the summer is we have outdoor classroom. We take what we normally do on the inside, we bring it outside and we expand it so that we have more STEM type activities, science, technology, art, math, all those type of things. We bring it outside and we give children the experience that they would normally have indoors. And we also increase the physical activity because we know when children are more physically active, it enhances their emotional well-being, it improves their overall health, it boosts attention, and it stimulates brain growth. So having that outdoor classroom is a really big thing that we do over the summer. And we include parents in this by providing little parenting tip sheets where we send home to parents, or we send it by text or email or through social media, telling them ideas of things that they can do with their children that's free or low cost, that's going to get them outdoors and increase their physical activity, and help them improve not only their cognitive development, but also their overall health. And we also have a lending library. Our lending library is composed of literacy and math bags. In each bag is a book with activities and all the materials to go with that activity that the parents can check out. Just like at a regular public library, they can check out these activity bags from our site and do these things with their kids at home. So they don't have to go out and buy anything. They don't have to go to the library and get the book because we provide that for them and they can borrow it. When they return it, we provide incentives like tickets to an area thing or passes to something or school supplies or actually another book or gift cards, but just a little something to let them know that, you know, we recognize you did something extra that you really didn't have to, but we give that to them for that. And we do what's called Kids in the Kitchen. It's basically food experiences. Our parents love this. We have made pizza, we've made applesauce, we've made hummus, but we do recipe cards and the kids actually make the things, and it's a way to incorporate math, science, and literacy in the classroom. They take this recipe card home and they can do the same thing at home with their parents. And then also the kids do what we call Write and Read Me books. They're books that the kids author and illustrate themselves. And you would think they're only 3 and 4, they can't read. But yes, we will help them write it, and it's their story, so they know what they want to say in their picture. When they make that picture, they know what it says, so we write that for them. When they go home, they can reread that to their parents or continue the story with their parents. So it's a way to incorporate literacy from the classroom into the home. And we also provide a summer fun guide. The Summer Fun Guide is something that we work on throughout the year. It's a resource guide that we put together that has free and low-cost activities for parents to do in the community, like the museums, the zoos, sprinkle pads, plays, anything that's free or low cost. We put in that guide so that parents don't have to be constantly seeking out what's to do in our community. We put it all together for them. And then we also, in each of those things, we list what you can do at that event and how that's going to help your child learn. So at the zoo, we talk about exploring the different types of animals and putting them into the classes. And we talk about, if you go to the art museum, talking about shapes and color exploration. So not only do you provide them with the place and information and where to go, but what you can do when you get there and how that's going to help your child with their learning. And also we do it's a socialization group. It's an opportunity for parents to come together. It's called Baby Connect. The parents and the staff come together and we show them the day in the life of their preschooler. So during that time, they're doing the same thing that the preschooler is doing, and we have the parent coaches involved, and the parent coaches are there also kind of supporting that parent, modeling some of those techniques that they've been talking to them in the home with, like signals and those type of things. So the parent coaches are there, the teachers are there, and so it's a family event, but it's a time for the parents to actually, they can practice some of those skills they're learning, and it's also, they can connect with other parents. They connect with the staff, and it's a great event. We have a really good turnout, and we also bring a community resource in. The community resource, we pick something based on parents' input, something that they're interested in, and we have that person come in just for a little bit, provide them with the information about their program, and it's available for the parents for each Baby Connect we do, and we do that twice within our 10 weeks. And then we also do pre and post assessments. We do 2 types of assessments. We do a parent-administered assessment called Ages and Stages Questionnaire, and we do the Brigance, which is a teacher-administered assessment. That assessment is done to help the teacher in the classroom guide their lesson planning. So what they do in the beginning is when they do that first assessment, they look and see where's the child need some extra support, some extra enhancement. What skills have they already developed? So we know not to teach something they already know how to do. So that Brigance assessment is used to help that teacher guide how she's teaching in the classroom. And the self-assessment that the parents do, the Ages and Stages, is to help the parents see where my child is at with their skills and what they need to work on. So both of these together is a useful tool for over the summer, so we can see the growth of that child from the beginning to the end, and parents also get a copy of all assessments that we do. And I think the last thing that I want to talk about is we have an end of the year celebration at the end of the summer, rather. And each child is given their portfolio, which is a portfolio of all the work that they've done for the entire time they're with us. And it's a copy of their assessment and the results, and then some tips on what their parents can do after they finish with us. And then also a certificate of completion. And then they get a book bag with new books and school supplies and a healthy snack to go home with them. So those are some of the strategies that we've done for our summer abbreviated preschool, and we've included all of our parents in each of these things to help them feel empowered and be a part of the process, and we've shown good results. So our goal is always to keep supporting the values of constant learning, being physically active, eating healthy, and parents being intentional teachers in their everyday lives. So I'm going to hand you over to Takia again.
Okay, thank you, Kim. Okay, we have a few minutes left. I want to make sure that we get enough time for questions. So we might have to cut some of the presentation short. Okay, so I'm going to kind of go through. Let's see. Okay. Actually, I'm going to cut it short. So what I want to leave with is these are just some slides on our retention rate. We've been showing really good outcomes in our retention rate, and we noticed that in our summer cohorts is usually, except for the pre-K. Pre-K's numbers are always high in the summer. Our retention rate with home visiting can be a little lower, as you can see here. And so we've been strategizing on how we can improve on that in the summer with our home visits. And so since we've been incorporating the orientation and things like that, our summer cohort has actually picked up in momentum. And so we're going to continue to look at that and see how that works in the summer. Engagement results, and this is pretty much from our infant component of Baby Scholars is our results here. So before our incorporation of our orientation and things like that, you could see our numbers. 151 is the total enrollment, and then our retention rate is 109. And then after incorporating the orientation and the parents' voice and really engaging parents, we've seen we had so far, without counting this cohort, we have 82 enrolled and 75 actually completed. So you can see that gap closing. And so we're looking to see what our numbers show for our winter sessions. And so these are just increases in our infantile and pre-K and how mother and child interactions and the impacts that Baby Scholars have had in the lives of families that we've serviced. So they've really shown increase in responsiveness, warmth, attention, teaching, and things of that nature. So I'm sorry if I'm moving a little quickly. I want to give you time for questions. And these are just pics of and comments from parents and how they enjoyed and how Baby Scholars has helped them along the way. So important answers. So pretty much family engagement is the process that makes home visiting programs work. Family engagement indicators include proximity, activity, interaction, and initiative. Parent coaches engage parents by building relationships, responding to family strengths, facilitating parent-child interaction, and collaborating non-intrusively with parents. So be creative, give parents a voice, get to know your parents, demonstrate cultural sensitivity and responsiveness, and make sure that you guys are planning and your quality improvements and looking where you can improve the lives of families and your interactions with them. So I'll turn it back over for questions. Dana?
Yes, thank you, Takia and Kimberly, for that very informative information about B2B and winning strategies and the insights with the listening audience. Now we would like to give the audience an opportunity to ask questions. If you have questions, please feel free to type in the Q&A box. This should be at the bottom of your screen, and we'll make sure that your questions get answered. We already have one question. And that is, what was the name of the curriculum used in pre-K? Takia, can you hear me?
Can you get that one more time, please? The question.
What was the name of the curriculum used in pre-K?
Doors to Discovery.
Can you give us a little bit more information about that curriculum?
Yes, you can look it up online if you look up Susan Landry, Dr. Susan Landry from the University of Texas, and then you can find the information for a Doors to Discovery curriculum.
How did you all select that curriculum for your program?
Yes, they were looking for a research-based curriculum, and it fit the needs, and it's what Susan Landry had used in her program in Texas, and we use her PALS 1 and 2 model as well.
Okay. Can you give a little bit more information about the PALS 1 and 2?
Okay. One more time with the question.
Can you give a little bit more information about the PALS 1 and 2?
Sure. PALS 1 and 2 it's called Planned Learning Strategies, which is a curriculum that was originally developed based on longitudinal research conducted by Dr. Susan Landry and Dr. Karen Smith and colleagues regarding the development of formal premature babies. So it was based on that study. And these babies were at risk for developmental delays due to their immature nervous systems and the typical medical complications associated with premature birth. And so many of those babies studied in her group really were in like category of at-risk families such as poverty, low education, ethnic minority status, and all of these other developmental other issues that can compromise their baby's likelihood for productive life. And so because of her study and her great outcomes, we've adopted that. And so the PALS curriculum kind of focuses on the major concepts is attending to and interpreting infants' communicative or toddlers' communicative signals, responding to their signals using contingent and sensitive behaviors, supporting their learning by maintaining their interest and attention rather than redirecting or overstimulating, having realistic expectations for what children of different ages and stages are capable of doing and what their normal behaviors are, stimulating language development through labeling objects and actions, incorporating these strategies and supportive behaviors throughout the day. So using it in their daily routine. So that's pretty much a brief overview of it. And so some of their sessions, the 10 sessions are introduction, signals, responding. They actually do a review. So they're actually teaching someone else that interacts with their child. Maybe it's a spouse, or maybe it's a grandma, or even another young child. So actually taking on that teaching role and kind of helping others to understand the concepts. Maintaining a child's interest, introducing how to introduce new things to children, labeling objects and actions, and daily routines. And that's pretty much the base of it.
Okay,
and
thank
it's
you.
evidence-based. It's evidence-based too. It's evidence-based curriculum.
Okay, we have another question about public libraries. How can public libraries better help prepare young children for kindergarten, partnering with Believe to Become, and et cetera? Are there any models that you know of that you are particularly impressed with? So basically around library partnerships with Believe to Become programs to prepare young children for kindergarten. The reading. Well,
we first started off at that, what was that called? The Raise a Reader, but we never engaged in the Raise a Reader. But what we do, how we partner with getting literacy and having families connected, what we do currently is that sometimes we have our reading session. One of our sessions is concentrated strictly on reading. And a lot of times we have sessions at the library with families, and they're right on the spot, get their library cards if they don't have one. And that's one of the things that we do ask families in the beginning, do they have a library card? So that's something that we're aware of. And so we connect families with the library through our sessions, being there, right there at the library. We provide them with reading opportunities when they have reading at the library, so they are aware of those reading sessions there at the library.
In the first 4 years of our model, we did a group model.
Oh, yes, we did. The first 4 years, I'm going to let Erlina Libet is here, so I'm going to let her comment a little bit about the group session. She's one of the supervisors for the toddler piece of Baby Scholars. She's just going to share real quick about that reading group session.
Hi, my name is Erlina Libet, and the first 4 years of the Play and Learn strategies that we did it in a group format, and we did offer a reading portion, which we invited the library, the Grand Rapids Public Library, to our site to do a reading portion there on site to our groups. So every time we had a session, the library came out and did a piece of their curriculum to our groups and during our reading session. So that's how we partner with the library.
And also in the abbreviated preschool portion for our Baby Connect, we have the library come out for our parents, and they tell them about the different things they offer, like they have computer literacy classes and different activities like that. So they bring out that information, and they also, in the last few they've done with us, they waived any fines for our families. They've had library fines that were keeping them from using the library services. They waived the fines for them so that they can continue to use the library.
Thank you. Where do you all plan to go next with the B2B program based on what you've already been able to accomplish? What are some upcoming goals for the B2B Baby Scholars program?
That's a good question.
I can't speak for everyone, but I would like to see us continue to impact our community, continue to serve the families that need it, and to also probably strengthen our transitions to Grand Rapids Public Schools or other school systems in the area, and be able to reach more families.
Yes, I think that Baby Scholars is a stepping stone to the public school system, and I just think that we should just be in a partnership with KSSN and Grand Rapids Public School System, because I truly believe that we are a stepping stone to kids getting into going to that next phase, cradle to career. I believe we are in that pipeline, and Baby Scholars is just, we there to help parents bridge that gap, and so the more resources they have, the better they are.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
and then we're already engaging parents at that point. And that's critical, because if we want to create parent advocacy and engagement for a lifelong of school success, so right there, I think we're doing an amazing job with parent engagement and empowerment at the beginning before kids even start school. And our whole hope is that they continue that advocacy throughout.
Thank you, Takia and Kimberly. I don't think we have any more questions in queue. Okay, so I wanted to just say thank you to Thank you to you, Takia and Kimberly, for sharing all of the information that you've shared with us today. We really appreciate it. It's definitely very informative, and hopefully the programs that are on the line, they were able to receive a lot of valuable information. And thank you again for sharing with us. So we want to make sure that, do you have any closing remarks that you wanted to say, Takia or Kimberly?
I just want to say there's so much to parent engagement and parent empowerment that is just critical. So I just wanted to say that, remember, there is not a one-size-fits-all when it comes to working with families. Remember to individualize and fun-size it. Bring accessibility, attainability, and sustainability. And I want to leave with this analogy that came to me when I was planning this. We plant, parents water, children grow, and we all reap the harvest. And that's what community impact is all about. We can't plant the seed unless we till the ground first. So through authentic relationship where we engage and empower is what tills the ground so that we can plant.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Kimberly, did you have anything you wanted to add?
That is a good note to end on, so we're fair.
Yes, thank you so much. I hope that you'll continue to engage with the National Summer Learning Association. We're on social media. You can keep track of the latest in summer learning. You can find us on Twitter, you can find us on Facebook, and also on YouTube. Let's continue to keep kids learning during the summer. You can also find us on our recently updated website at summerlearning.org. We also have our Excellence in Summer Learning Award applications. Applications are now open for the 2018 New York Life Foundation Excellence in Summer Learning Award and Founders Award. The awards recognize outstanding summer programs that demonstrate excellence in accelerating academic achievement and promoting healthy development for low-income children and youth between pre-kindergarten and 12th grade. Join us for an informative webinar November 13th to learn more about the awards and the application process. The link to register is on the screen and on the Excellence Awards page at NSLA's website. Round 1 of applications are due December 21st. Again, we'd like to say thank you for joining us on this webinar. For more information, please contact me, Dana Hammond, at NSLA at dhammond@summerlearning.org. Thank you.